As the primary creative force on this channel, I promise you that at the end of this sentence, you are not going to be seeing the usual intro. I got you! Your expectations were completely subverted. You were caught so off guard. That was worth a little lie, right? Well, some fans certainly don't think so. Hey, so this is a topic inspired and specific by Doctor Who and Russell T Davies, but also just in broad terms, this is something that comes up intermittently, and I found myself thinking about it again. I may have talked about this before, but it would have been years ago, so I think it's worth a revisit on the topic. What are we supposed to do as fans? How are we supposed to act when the creators behind the things we love lie to us? And as I said, RTD is the inspiration for this topic because spoilers for the end of the latest season of Doctor Who, but it was revealed that the big bad was a classic era villain named Sutekh, a one-time baddie from the Fourth Doctor era. And while it is by no means a high percentage of fans, but I did see some people in my comments and on Twitter getting really salty because they say that Russell T Davies said he wasn't going to bring back any old villains. And they are so disappointed in that he did it and he lied about it. Did he though? I suppose that's the first thing. Like so much of what I've had to talk about in the last almost year, I think I've put more emphasis on this idea since the whole James Somerton thing. No, I don't plan to do a whole other video about that. I know more has been found out since then. Short version, I know I offered him a tiny olive branch last video I talked about him, but that guy. Anyways, it is worth pressing back on your assumptions. There is a confirmation bias, and you should double check things. Because I did what I normally do when I can't find what people are talking about, which was both put citation needed on the comments I was getting and then go to Twitter and go, hey, can anybody show me where he actually said this? Because all that I could find and all that anybody else could provide me were him saying that he wanted a new emphasis on new villains and new things, and he didn't want to bring back staples like the Daleks, the Cybermen, or the Master. He didn't want to bring back the quote-unquote iconic villains of Doctor Who. Now, we could get into a semantic debate over what does or doesn't count as iconic. I would argue Sutekh isn't, if only for the fact that he appeared once. Is he well-known amongst the portion of the fandom that either watched at the time or has since absorbed classic-era Doctor Who? Yeah, he is, but that doesn't make him iconic. That's the first thing. It spread so fast, he lied to us. He lied to us that he wouldn't do a thing and then he did it. Ugh, I'm so irritated. I'm so disappointed. Okay, but he didn't. It does kind of present the fact that a lot of creators are in a little bit of a no-win situation just by the media and the promotional cycle. The nature of marketing and talking to outlets about these things means that people are going to ask questions like that, and he has to have some kind of answer. I mean, what was he going to do? Go, oh, no, well, we won't have any returning villains until the finale. Wait till you see who we dug up. Like, would anybody have thanked him for saying that? I mean, from a pure creative perspective, the best thing that he or any creator could do would be to say, freaking nothing. Just say, wait and find out. But they're talking to these news outlets and making posts and whatever to promote the thing. So while it would be best creatively to not talk about the thing, you also have to promote the thing. So what else was he supposed to do? Because what he said technically is true. We didn't see a return of any of the iconic villains of Doctor Who during this season, the first season for Ncuti Gatwa. But there is the simple fact that it still feels like the spirit of what he said is misleading. It's one of those things where, did he actually say that he wouldn't bring back any old villains? No, he didn't. He was, in his statement, technically correct.
The best kind of correct.
However, The spirit of what he was saying was interpreted by fans, and I don't think wrongly, as meaning no old characters were coming back. That is the energy that his statement brought. And while I think it is fair to say that fans should double check his exact words and be careful about how they interpret them, I also don't think it's completely fair to blame those same fans for making a very logical assumption that is wrong. And RTD is savvy enough, he probably wanted them to make that wrong logical assumption. Because he said, we're focusing on new villains and we're not bringing back the iconic old ones. The natural assumption would be that there wouldn't be any old stuff at all. And people, while that turned out not to be factually true, that is not an unreasonable assumption to make. But then we get into kind of fan responses about whether or not it's okay to be mad at a creator for simply not meeting your expectations when those expectations are not completely accurate to what they had laid out. And that becomes its own sort of tangled mess. And understand, I'm not immune to this. I've done this. Specifically, I've done this with Tom King. Now, Tom King is a writer for DC. He has written some bad stuff over there. But the point at which I was done with him and wrote him off was his Batman number 50. Now, there was a build-up to that Batman and Catwoman were going to get married. And in the build-up to that, my memory was he had said in an interview that, yeah, no, we're not gonna chicken out on this. We're definitely gonna do it because there's all these possibilities to come about by actually having them be together. And it would be a shame not to explore that, which made it all the more painful when issue 50 comes around and she just leaves him at the altar, citing the exact same BS reason that's been given by villains like Talia al Ghul and people with a very narrow view of what Batman can and should be. And that ticked me off. The thing is, though, he didn't say what I thought he said. What he actually said is kind of in line with what happened with RTD, which is that what he said was, making Batman happy is an unexplored thing, and that in and of itself would be a stressor for Batman, because he's never been happy. Not really, not for a stretch of time, not in his home life. So introducing that would actually be a strain and a stress, because how would he even cope with that? So did he say, oh no, I'm definitely going to be sure that we go through with this marriage? No, but he gave an answer that indicated that direction that he ended up ultimately not going in. I would still say that my frustration at him is not completely unjustified, because again, technically, did he say what I could have sworn I remembered him saying? No. Did he spiritually say it? Pretty close, but I went back and double checked. Specifically because I knew I was doing this video. And yeah, I'm guilty of this too. I've done it. I need to be careful about it. But the thing is, there's another side to this. Because so far with RTD and Tom King, whatever you think about them, they fall under the category of, okay, they said something that was interpreted to mean a thing that ended up not being true. And again, one could argue they were trying to delicately dance around just having to do interviews as part of the promotional tour. And that's just crap they have to do. And I honestly feel bad that they even have to do that. But there is another side to this coin, which is that there are times that creators involved in these things have flat out lied. So let's not pretend that that has never happened. Let's not pretend that J.J. Abrams did not lie flat out about the character that Benedict Cumberbatch was playing in his second Star Trek film that he directed. Let's not pretend that the makers behind Spectre were saying on the record that Christoph Waltz was not playing Blofeld. This was mind-boggling to me because they're both literally doing the exact same thing, and the fallout for Star Trek Into Darkness wasn't good, and Spectre saw that and did the same thing. Because in both cases, they had a very well-known actor coming in to play what all the fans guessed would be basically one of the most popular legacy villains. And in both cases, the fans were right. And in an attempt to try and put the fans off the scent, the people behind it just lied. They just lied. J.J. Abrams told people he's not playing Khan. Then you get into the movie and...
My name is Khan.
And so that moment, honestly, is kind of iffy film. Like, I'm a soft defender of Star Trek Into Darkness. I'm not going to defend it across the board, but like I'm a mild defender of that movie. But that moment is very clearly being done because they thought, oh, we're going to blow all their minds with this. And then probably realized when they started gearing up for promotion, oh, they're all gonna guess that that's who he's playing. What do we do? We'll just make up a name. Make up a name, say he's that instead.
I looked up John Harrison. Until a year ago, he didn't exist.
John Harrison was a fiction.
And I'm almost tempted to give Abrams a pass on this because, like, one could argue it was a panic move that maybe they didn't think that the fans were going to figure out as much as they did. But, like, that would have been naive of him at best. But maybe he and the creatives were blindsided. Like, well, we have to have a cover story. We need to come up with something while, yes, it basically would have been the worst kept secret, it probably would have been the best just to tell people, like, look, you want to find out who he's playing, come and watch the movie. That's what that would have been the best thing. J.J. Abrams even now admits that was something they should not have done. But they did it. And then, years later, Spectre comes out. And Christoph Waltz is having to say to people, I'm not playing Blofeld. I'm playing whatever the heck name they pretended this guy had.
The man you're talking to now is Ernst Stafford Blofeld.
Now, I don't know if he was the only one who gave that answer. I tried to find whether or not the director Sam Mendes also did. I could have sworn he did, but I couldn't find it. I could only find Christoph Waltz doing it. And boy, do I feel bad for him, because it really shouldn't fall on him to lie on behalf of the writers and director. But there you go. So when there is, in fact, a lie, what do we do? Well, the first thing that's probably worth noting is it hasn't worked. It has not gone to the benefit of any creative to flat out knowingly lie about their own work, about what will or won't be in it. So just stop. Hopefully after both Spectre and Star Trek Into Darkness happen, they'll realize that. But the thing is, we still need to be careful about falling into a narrative of, well, they lied when maybe it's not that. And also keep in mind, there might be other factors in some specific instances that are worth just having for context. Like, if a writer on a really long-running comic book, novel series, webcomic even, does something that 6 years ago they said, I'm not going to do that with this story, I have no plans to do that, and then they ended up doing it, like, clearly over the time that passed, they changed their mind and decided there was a reason to do that. Now, you can still like or not like the fact that they've decided to do that, but that's a case where I was like, that's not a lie. That's somebody changing their mind over time. Now, when somebody says something about a very specific piece of work and that specific piece of work then comes out not that long after they said stuff and nope, you lied. Yeah, that's a problem. Lying should not be part of the marketing for anything. About the story, about the characters, about the mechanics, if it's a video game. Just don't do that. You're going to be found out immediately, and hopefully, over time, audiences will learn not to trust you. Not necessarily to not take in your work. They, in many cases, still will. But, like, once you're caught doing that once, the people paying attention are never going to take you at your word again. Why would they? Why would they believe you? You've proven that you will look down a camera or tell a journalist to their face, just nonsense, just BS. Don't do that. But fans, be real careful about what you label as being that. Because most of the times when I see it, like, it's not that, though. I mean, there probably are some more recent examples of it definitely happening besides the two that I gave, just probably from things I don't pay as much attention to, so I don't know them. But you see these kinds of accusations fly around way more than is warranted. Hopefully, because the people that make these things and promote them have realized lying is a bad idea. Because it is. Anyways, those are my thoughts that I just wanted to get off my chest. Again, it kind of snowballed off of RTD, and I just found myself thinking about the broader topic. And yeah, sometimes that's what ends up being a video every now and then. Whatever your thoughts are on this, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. If you feel like citing any time that a creator did in fact lie about their work or what was going to happen in their work, I'm going to be real strict about the comments on this video in particular. Having citations and giving a source for where you found it that the creator said a thing that proved to be a complete lie. I don't normally get that strict. I usually only ask for a citation if I feel like somebody is slinging nonsense. This time, like, let's set the standard. Let's set the bar. Just be aware, if you put a link, it will initially get flagged and set aside because I have to approve comments with links. So give it a little while before it'll probably show up publicly, but I'll try and not leave those sitting there too long. So yeah, comments down there. Let me know what you think. Patreon pays the bills, enables me to do this as my living. Even if you can't help me out that way, like, share, and subscribe. Those all help me out. Don't worry too much about it, though. What I really want you to remember is that you are beautiful, you are valid, and you are loved. You are the council, and I'm just running the meetings. And until next time, this council is adjourned. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Zumila Fulla, Goddess Elida, Trista Ashley, Oliver B., Melissa Peterson, Tarak, The Thing That Goes Going to the Anime, Jean Foray, Movie Turtle, Ulrich Bogdan, Loki Eris, Linda Walters, Jen, Auntie Kate 808, Becky Sparks, Fernambulax the Poodle, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperol, Dave Hall, White Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Pal Barabajoggle, Lucy Wood, Dorm Mayhew, and Mary G. Thank you for your support, and consider supporting me as well on Patreon.